This time of year, a good hoodie is absolutely essential, but it's tough to find one that will last through the season. That's why the American Giant Classic Full Zip Hoodie is made to last a lifetime, so you can count on it to bring you comfort and warmth year after year. Slate Magazine called it the greatest hoodie ever made, and from cotton to zipper, it's made right here in the USA. With timeless style, heavyweight fleece, a double-lined hood, and reinforced elbow patches, you can depend on it for years to come. Snag the hoodie that will bring you comfort for life, the American Giant Classic Full Zip, and save 20% off your first order at american-giant.com when you use code CLASSIC24 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at american-giant.com, code CLASSIC24.
You're listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
What is up, everybody? It is the Tuesday Night Delight edition of Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr. coming to you from Sweep the League Studios. Derek Gervin actually is going to be out tonight. So again, when Derek's not on, we do a very quick show. We go over some of the stuff for you guys out there, the hottest news that's going on today, what we missed over the weekend. Obviously, we'll get you our Super Bowl picks in here this week or maybe next week since we got a couple of weeks to do it. But Derek Gervin will be back later on this week. He's got some training that he's doing. So he's working with the kids. He's got a lot of stuff going on right there. So we're going to give him as much time as he needs to get all that squared away. But he will be back this week. But for right now, it's going to be myself. And big shout out here. We've got a lot of stuff going on at Sweep the League. Sweep Unplugged had a whole bunch of interviews coming out. Recently, we've got more coming up this week and next week. Grading the Market is just taking the market by storm. Jacob Canziano is going to be doing that along with Anthony, plus myself and Matt Schillen of SI Collectibles, Sports Illustrated Collectibles. A lot more Grading the Market episodes coming out this week, plus STL Music, SOTB. We've dropped a lot more music for STL Music this past week. Wemby's song, Wemby the Future. That's another one about Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, that one's going viral right now. So be sure to check out everything we're doing. The best way to do it is to go to our YouTube page, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button so you're not left behind. What do we got going today? Let's get into the comments here before we move on here. We got Tim Gonzalez. Appreciate you, Tim, being in here as always. Loving the Blue Devils. I'm going to say it one last time. Left them picks, trade fan favorite. Bring me a Fox now. Leha, we're getting into that. Shout out to MCS General Contracting, Chris Leha. Super Bowl this Saturday night, Tar Heels versus Duke. Tar Heels will win, no doubt about that. Sparks are making it great again. Yeah, I do believe that. Grading the Market, Jacob Erickson here. He's, again, Grading the Market, one of the hot podcasts we've got on Sweep the League Network here. Be sure to check out all of our stuff that's going to be going on, man. If a rumor is true, and Brian, the FA, wrong, doesn't make the trade, I'm done with this team. Holtz better make this happen. We're going to get into that a little bit more here in a little bit, man. Spurs did the trade win before. Rudy Campos, I don't know who the Campos guy is, but if it's for Rudy Campos, I don't know. If Victor's not enough. I'm worth way more than that, Dar. So I appreciate that. What are we going into, man? Definitely, we got some NBA news. Obviously, the trade deadline is happening this Thursday. Let's get into some of the talk here because what's been going on? Have you been under a rock in San Antonio? You're missing out on some good stuff.
I would like to see him on a San Antonio Spurs and pair him up with a Wemby, especially with the future of Chris Paul. You don't know where Chris Paul go from here, being at the tail end of his career. So you pair him up with another young star and De'Aaron Fox, who has a lot of good basketball to play. And maybe there's a play there where he gets traded down there, but I don't see him re-signing after all of the drama.
So that is the news right now. De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings, the Kings did come out and they did say, hey, we are going to be listening to any types of trades, anything for De'Aaron Fox. He is on the trade market. So that's what we have been saying, guys. Now, we're not going to toot our own horn here at Sweep the League. Derek Gervin had been saying this before this past draft for the NBA. He did mention that De'Aaron Fox was rumored to San Antonio, whether it be through trade or through free agency. A lot of the signs have pointed to him being in the Spurs uniform because of free agency. Now, the ties he has to San Antonio. His wife is from San Antonio, so he does have ties to San Antonio. There's another Texas team he has ties to. That's the Houston Rockets as well. So before we get into all that here, let's kill one rumor by Shams right away.
One thing I can say with Rich Paul, we know he's got LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the Lakers. I'm told the Lakers are not part of that destination of choice for De'Aaron Fox potentially, but he is now potentially entering the NBA's trade market.
So there you go. So the Los Angeles Lakers, who everybody always points to first as being the team to get, I guess all the options here for players and, the go-to destination, they're out of the picture. He's not going to be going to the Lakers. There's really no way I can expect him to go to the Lakers at all. So here we go, using Jeff Garcia's Locked On Spurs here. Then, of course, through Shams Charania here. I'm sorry, Shams. Shout out to Shams about that. The thing with De'Aaron Fox, he's not going to go into the Lakers. The only two teams you can kind of tie him to right now are obviously the Spurs, who are probably his number one target. And before we say probably, let's just say this. With the talks that we've kind of known and with what we kind of have felt around here at Sweep the League, I mean, like we said, we were saying it in the summer before the draft that, the Spurs are going to be prepared to really ramp up in 2025, the summer of 2025. You're starting to see this. For those of you guys out there that listen to Locked On Spurs prior to even the NBA season, when I've been a guest and I've been there with Jeff Garcia, I've been saying 2025, the summer of 2025 is the summer to watch for the Spurs. You've got a massive draft class. You've got a great free agent class that's coming out, and you're going to have money. You're going to have a lot of money available. You have a lot of trade pieces and trade assets as well. 2025 summer was the summer to circle right there for the Spurs. It's starting now. Trade deadline this Thursday. Right now, San Antonio is number one for Fox. That is the destination. There's no secrets about it. You cannot convince me or anyone here at Sweep the League. We've been saying it for a long while, this past summer. We've been saying it. We've been trying to get you guys ready. Get ready for it. This is the number one destination. This goes on the front office now. The only way this doesn't happen is if the front office fumbles it. But even at that, this isn't a Marshawn Lynch 1 yard line. Just give it to him to score the touchdown and Russell passes the ball, gets it intercepted at the goal line. No, this is nothing like that. This is literally in the lap of the front office. That's it. There is nothing more than that. He wants to be here. He wants to play with Victor. He wants to be able to sign a long-term deal. And that comment that was made earlier was he will only sign an extension with a team of his choice. That choice is San Antonio. It could be Houston. Let's not forget, it could be Houston because he has ties to Houston as well. But on the Houston side of things, the Rockets themselves, they're having a breakout year. The Rockets are having themselves a season already. They are second in the West, 32-14. Adding a De'Aaron Fox to Houston, thumbs up, makes it that much better. But they're going to have to give up a guy like Amen Thompson. They're going to have to give up some of their young pieces to get De'Aaron Fox. Houston, we do not have a problem. There's no reason for the Rockets to make any kind of deal for De'Aaron Fox, and they know it. So you eliminate the Lakers. You eliminate the Rockets. What other team is out there besides the Spurs? The Miami Heat. Miami is desperate to get rid of Jimmy Butler. The asking price for Jimmy Butler is massively low right now. I will say this, personally, do not expect the Heat and the Kings to swap players. I do not see that at all. Do not see that. Miami Miami wants it to happen, but teams know, and this goes for the Butler thing, teams know that Jimmy is on such bad terms with the Heat. I seriously doubt anybody will trade for him. And if they do, they're not going to give the Heat exactly what they want. The Heat may just settle for a couple of first. And I'm talking 2029, 2031. They might just settle for that right now just to get Jimmy out of Miami. But don't do that. Eventually, they're going to cut Jimmy. Why pay for him when they're going to cut him? They don't want him around. So I have a feeling they're just going to cut him out. Then you can go and sign him if you're a contender. So much easier. You don't have to give up anything. If you're desperate, you pay for it. Obviously. So I don't see Miami, and I definitely don't see Houston. So we're going to eliminate Houston. Houston's a second best team in the West. Third best team in the NBA. Houston is fine right now. That leaves one team. That leaves the San Antonio Spurs, a team that was mentioned way ahead of time. Sweep the League and Locked On Spurs have been preparing you guys for this right now. We're preparing you because the chances of it happening are really, really good. Now, I understand where there's smoke, there's fire. And normally when the Spurs announce something or you hear a player tied to San Antonio, majority, 95% of the time, it never happens. It never, it's kind of like San Antonio gets used as, we're going to go there, but then another team comes right in and swoops in and makes the deal. So the Spurs get screwed. Larry Markkinen, back when he was with the Bulls. I mean, they get screwed in a lot of different ways. But this has there's a lot of fire going on right now in this big old smoke screen that we see. This is a really good possibility to have De'Aaron as a part of the San Antonio Spurs this season and beyond. Everything's there. Everything's there. All the signs are pointing to it. What do you guys think? Is there anything in the back of your mind that tells you this doesn't happen? This probably won't happen. If there is, let us know. Shoot them in the comments. Let us know if there is. Word on the street is that Rudy has put his name in for the Royal Rumble this Saturday night. I have not put my name in just yet. He's talking about the Heat. Rumors going around that Curry joined the Spurs in trade. I have not heard anything like that. Fox will end up in Golden State. I know it. Fox might sign later with the Spurs, but he is not coming to San Antonio this season or next. Golden State is where he's going. Again, if it doesn't happen now, in free agency, it's going to happen. He's a free agent after the 2025-2026 season. He's going to be a free agent. No matter where he goes, he's not going to sign an extension. He's going to sign the extension with San Antonio, but he won't sign it anywhere else. So already that eliminates pretty much every other team who is interested in signing De'Aaron Fox. So he's refusing to sign an extension. And that's not real. He's got one of the best agents in the game right now. One of the really, really good ones that, is fierce about things. He's making it very clear. He's not going to sign with just any team. Talking about De'Aaron Fox here on Sweep the League. Be sure to subscribe to Sweep the League TV. Go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. Hit that subscribe button where we're launching our shorts, short video clips. Also our TikTok at Sweep the League Radio. We need to get a lot more followers on the TikTok there for at Sweep the League Radio. We've got some appearances coming up for myself and Derek Irvin, SOTV. A lot of the sweep crew is coming up here. We started in 2025 with a bunch of interviews, and now we've got a lot of guest appearances lined up. So be sure to subscribe everywhere that we are so you do not get left in the dark. Also, shout out to STL 316, the new wrestling podcast. Sometime this week, we're going to have the Royal Rumble preview. So be sure to be on the lookout for STL 316, another great podcast on the STL network. We've got Leha in here. What makes y'all think you would come here after the Spurs didn't go get him? Because they valued picks and bum-ass players over him? Come on now. Well, the thing, so it's a little more than this. I'll tell you this, Leia. It's more than this. You can offer them the world, and at the end of the day, Sacramento can say no. So, I mean, if they say no, and you offer them, say you're up there with four first rounders. You go, we're going to give you both first round picks this year, ours and the Hawks. We're going to give you a 2027 ours, and we'll give you, a 2028 ours, or, the pick swap with Atlanta in 27 and then ours in 28. 4 first round picks. And then you say, you know what? We're even going to give you Devin. Who else do you want? You want, you want Malachi? You want CP3? Or do you want Sohan? Do you want Sohan and Devin? You can offer the world to Sacramento. It doesn't mean that they're going to take the trade. So before, I guess, I love you, Leha. Before we judge on what happens in the trade, see what's offered. Let's see what they offer. Because you definitely want to give, you have all the picks. You want to get rid of the picks. Outside of 2025 and some players in 2026, I don't think you see another big time draft probably till around 2028, 2029-ish. So, I mean, you got players, but this year's draft is more enticing than, future years. So I think it's going to take both first this year for sure. Yours and Atlanta's. Atlanta's struggling, guys. They're down to 9th. Technically, if they lose that play-in series, they're in the lottery. So, I mean, they're on a 6-game losing streak in Atlanta. So those picks may become more valuable. But I do love what you say. I know you got to get rid of the picks, but offer whatever you can within reason. You don't want to gamble. Let's just say, for instance, let me get into Tim's comments. Kings could have, who cares about that? You're coming in here, the best team with the best trade package, the Spurs. There's no other team that can kill it the way that the Spurs can. They ain't turning down Godfather offer for a big second ball. Okay, again, let me get to your comment here. King, yeah, okay. I don't really care about that, Tim. Here's the thing. You're right on the 2025. Spurs right now are lottery bound for their pick. They make it happen. The earner comes in. You creep up, play in minimum play in probably. But that Hawks pick is starting to come down. I mean, it's going up because the Hawks are coming down. They're 6 in a row, and they got a tough schedule. So they could plummet down that Eastern Conference, as you see a team like Philadelphia could be coming up here now. You could possibly see, the Bulls getting a little bit better. So, Atlanta could come down a little bit there. It happens. They could go on a little losing streak. They're, like I said, they lost 6 in a row already. But you are right. Those 2 picks for 2025 are gold right now. And that is what Sacramento wants. They want those 2 picks. I'm really believing they want these 2 picks. They want the 2026, and they probably want a 28 or a 29, minimum 4, which is by all means good. As great of the talent that you're going to have in this draft, I would rather take De'Aaron Fox now, established all-star player, someone who can grow with Wemby, and would probably Steph Castle. I would do that now. That there's no way now. If you're talking about somebody else, we're going to trade these picks for somebody else. I probably wouldn't do it. There's very few guys I would do it right now. And De'Aaron Fox is one of those guys. The Spurs have the best trade pack. They have youth. You can move Devin, Keldon, or Sohan. If you need to move 2 of those, you probably can easily. They can move any of the youth guys. They've got guys that are up and coming. They might take a Malachi. We don't really know exactly who they want over there right now. If you have to move on from CP3, you move on from CP3. Why? Because if CP3 is part of the Sacramento package, then they can just cut him, release him, and he can go sign with a contender. Remember, his contract is not that bad. It's not bad at all. I love what you're thinking. I really do. These picks this year, gold, but not for the Spurs. If they can move them for a Fox, perfect. But they are gold right now because of that. Because teams want to be able to get multiple picks in the first round. He wants to come. If I'm the Spurs, I start off the conversation with, look, eventually we're going to get him. So, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In free agency, he's going to come in free agency, 2025, 2026. You want to lose him for nothing? That's cool. I think that's the reason why this happened was because, remember, back in the summer, we said that the reason why they signed they got DeMar DeRozan was because De'Aaron refused to sign an extension. The writing was on the wall then. We kept pointing it out to you guys. You don't go get DeMar DeRozan if you feel good about De'Aaron Fox staying in Sacramento. He wasn't going to sign his extension. He already had made it clear he wanted to be out. Then you fire Mike Brown. Everything's going pretty good. Doug Christie's the coach. Sacramento, starts winning some games. They're at 24-22 now. They're in the play-in spot. Everything seems to be going good. You know what, De'Aaron? He may want to stay in Sacramento. It looks like something's going to be good there. They got rid of Mike Brown. Boom. Today happens. As you saw. They open up the trade talks for De'Aaron Fox. The writing has been on the wall since the moment that you guys knew, from what we were telling you guys, the moment it happened. It's going to happen. Speak it into existence. He either, like Derek Irvin said, he comes in free agency or he's traded to the Spurs. Either way, he's going to be a Spur. And the only other team was the Houston Rockets. But again, when you're second in the West, third overall in the NBA, adding Fox is perfect. But you're going to have to give up a core in Houston that's gotten you on this win streak that you've got. Can't see it happening. Can't see it happening. Rudy Campos Jr. here, Sweep the League, talking about De'Aaron Fox, the breaking news of the day and the ties he has to San Antonio. What's it going to take, guys? Throw it in the comments. What trades would you like to see happen or made? What players are a part of this deal to get De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio? Drop them in the comments. The Spurs can't develop us anymore. Look at the bums we have now. Development is very, very hard. They can have them both and whatever else. Wemby ain't playing 20 years. I would beat the house on that. His framing built lasts too long. Yeah, a lot of players aren't going to play 20 years anymore. It's definitely not going to happen. Spurs will not give up much for Fox. Spurs are hard on getting Donovan Mitchell. They are betting on him. The Spurs can't land. The Mitchell part I would have believed a little bit more, but Cleveland being the best team in the East right now, I think they're rocking with Mitchell, John. I do not see Mitchell going anywhere. The next big three, Wemby, Castle, and Fox. Yes, that's ideally the next big three. If I'm San Antonio, I would say, and we'll get to the WNBA too. We'll get to the WNBA, I promise, because that's a lot of big news here. I will say this, is that personally, Wemby and Steph Castle are probably the only two guys I'm not moving. For sure, Wemby. Castle, I'm not going to move on from Castle. It would take a whole lot to move on from Steph Castle for me. I think a trio of Fox, Castle, and Wemby moving into the future for the Spurs, I think that gets the deal done to make this team not contenders yet, but definitely consecutive playoff appearances. You start the consecutive streak again. I really do. Those three guys. Personally, I mean, Sacramento's definitely going to ask for Steph Castle. I'm willing to bet. I think it's harder to move on from Steph Castle than it is from Devin, Keldon, even Jeremy. No, and like we always say, no disrespect to any of the players, none whatsoever. But I think with Keldon, we've seen where Keldon's at, and it's perfect. He thrives in that 6-man role. Amazing job that he would do. Stays with the Spurs. The 6-man role is perfect. Comes in, energy guy, can score. But he's thriving in that role. But we've seen what we're going to get from Keldon. There's always bits and pieces of improvement. Jeremy, Jeremy's Jeremy. You know, you're going to get those scoring barrages, and you know you're going to get the toughness. You're going to get the defense. You're going to get a really rugged and gritty player, someone like the Spurs, you know, definitely need. Devin continues to be a mystery for us. I still think he has a little bit more left before he's, you know, touching that ceiling. But like, I know we've said it here a lot, myself and Derek, how much more can we get out of Devin? I mean, 20 plus a game, shoots a 3 really well, has a pretty good mid-range game. You know, the only concern is the injuries, but okay, when he plays, he plays. He has a few bad games. Obviously, everybody has a few bad games in the league. But when he plays, he plays. Scores, he can average about 20. So I'm not tied to any 3 of those guys. I'm tied to Castle more than I am to them. Because we've seen what Steph can do in so little time, halfway through the year. You like the way he plays on both sides of the ball. Steph Castle off the ball with De'Aaron running the point. I like it. I like it a lot. What guys are you tied to here in San Antonio? Who do you not want to see leave? Who do you want to see as part of a trade package for De'Aaron Fox if the Spurs are indeed getting a package deal ready to bring De'Aaron Fox back home? That's why I is from San Antonio. Which guys would you want to see traded from the Spurs? And also, like I said, it's probably going to take at least 4 first-round picks to get into that conversation, which I don't mind. Spurs have a plethora of picks in the NBA draft. So I'm not even worried about that. Rudy Campos here. When we come back, more De'Aaron Fox news, talk a little bit more trade deadline, WNBA news coming out, plus Super Bowl is set. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Derek Irvin will be back later this week. Rudy Campos here, Sweep the League. We'll be right back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting. Building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Vision on the court, watch my plays take action. Fast break, hustle, yeah, I'm built to compete. Defense locked in, I'm the soul of the street. Court vision crazy, I'm balling in the zone. Step back, jumper, yeah, I'm cold like stone. 2025 moves my game, got finesse. Leave it all on the floor, you know I'm the best.
You are watching Sweep the League TV. Make sure you subscribe and catch our new videos.
Sweep the League TV with Rudy Darrington, Coach Kia. Let's get back to the live show. You are watching the best in the business.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Derek Irvin will be back this week. We'll see if we can get Coach Gio in here as well to get him back on this week. We have the Super Bowl that was determined this past weekend. You will see the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. To me, it's meh. I'm only going to really watch because I want to see Saquon Barkley get a ring. The guy deserves a ring, man. Saquon, to me, one of the good guys in the league. He deserves a ring. We're going to get into that here in just a little bit. The man, the myth, the legend himself is in the chat here. Let's go, De'Aaron Fox, San Antonio. I was waiting on you. Derek's in here taking a listen, and he knows it. We've been saying it. He's been saying it. De'Aaron Fox of San Antonio here on Sweep the League. Derek is a host here at Sweep the League, and he's been screaming it from the mountaintops, saying it everywhere where everybody can hear him. He's talking to everybody about it again. De'Aaron Fox coming to San Antonio. That's what everybody's talking about. I asked you guys in there, which players do you not mind seeing going to Sacramento? And who would you want to keep? For me, it's, Steph Castle and Victor Wembanyama are really the only two guys that I would not want to see gone. Mainly because, you haven't really gotten everything you can out of Steph Castle. The guy's just getting started. So definitely, you don't want to see those guys gone at all, period. Steph Castle and Wemby, I will say that I definitely want to see both of them stay here. Everybody else, I'm not tied to. There is no doubt about that. Definitely not tied to anybody else out there. Other things going on the trade front for the NBA. Can't really say much on the Jimmy Butler thing other than the fact that, he's not going to be there much longer in Miami. Where does he go? The hot place you can think of is more than likely he can go maybe to Golden State, maybe to Phoenix. Phoenix has always been that hot spot for Jimmy to go because they can, in return, send Bradley Beal. They can also make it work as a 3-team type deal. I'm going to be real with you. On Jimmy Butler, I don't make a move if I'm any GM in the NBA. Don't make any move at all. He's going to be cut. He's going to be released. Miami's not going to want him there. Plus, if you're going to trade for him, the teams you're probably going to want to send him to or that are going to be interested are the teams that are going to try to still sell tickets. The Pelicans. Maybe the Hornets, the Wizards. These are the teams that may want to make a move to get Jimmy just to help sell tickets. You see how he's acting in the locker room. And you don't want a guy like Jimmy in the locker room if you're one of the top contending teams. Does he go back to Chicago, maybe? Could they possibly pull off Butler to Chicago and return get Zach LaVine? I don't really know. Phoenix is probably that one place you can maybe get him to. I don't think you go Dallas because, no, you don't go Dallas. Even though Dallas is struggling, you don't go Dallas. I mentioned Sacramento, but no, I already can tell you I'm 100% sure that Derek does not want to go to Miami. There's no way he wants to go to Miami. The Nuggets have turned it around. The Grizzlies have turned it around. There's no top team that wants to trade for Jimmy Butler. There really isn't. There's really no team out there I feel that should trade for him at all. As we bring up the Butler, page here. You don't trade him. You trade him, but one of these top teams isn't going to take him. Let's be real. You're in a playoff run. I don't know. I'm looking at the list here. Cleveland, no. Boston, no. The Knicks, no. The Bucks. Could you do a Bucks maybe? You'll have a Dame, Giannis, and Jimmy. That might work out pretty good for them. I think you probably give up Middleton. It's going to be expiring contract. You might get, some draft picks in return. The Pacers, you're talking Pascal Siakam. I don't know if that would work there for him. Is right up, the highway. Orlando, is that another spot for Jimmy to go to? They definitely need a scorer in Orlando, but is he too much of a problem? I wouldn't mess with him if I'm Detroit. So, I mean, that's the East right there. Atlanta is on the wrong side of, the streak right now. They've lost 6 in a row, but I mean, you go out West, obviously Oklahoma City, the Rockets, mentioned Memphis and Denver. No. The Lakers, could they make a splash for Jimmy? That's another team that maybe, but again, I don't see it working. Jimmy said he doesn't want to go to Memphis, but I think he really hopes Riley stays true to his form and sends him to Memphis. Would it work in Memphis though? I mean, you're sitting at the 3rd spot in the Western Conference. You've got a 3-game lead or 2.5-game lead over Denver in that 4th spot. He moves the needle for Memphis. I just don't know if they want that kind of headache in Memphis right now. I mean, they're playing good. They're only a game out of 2nd in the West. And really, nobody's going to catch Oklahoma City right now. I mean, they're 5 up at least, 4.5, 5 up on Houston. So it's an idea. I mean, him to Memphis does move the needle a lot. What do you have to give up in return, though? That's the question. I mean, if he's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, then definitely make that kind of deal. Hell, I mean, how crazy is it if you end up getting De'Aaron Fox and if Miami doesn't want a whole lot in return? I mean, I'm not opposed to Jimmy just being a 1-year rental, having a nice Jimmy, Fox, and Wemby. I think the locker room might be a little, what the kids say, sus, probably. If Jimmy comes in knowing that, hey, we just need you to be Jimmy Buckets and don't need, Jimmy the Greek, any of the attitude or any of the problems, we just need Jimmy Buckets, I think it might work out fine. He'd be a 3rd option. Which in Memphis, yeah, he would be out. Well, he would probably be a 3rd option there. If I'm thinking about it. That's a good call, Derek. Maybe so. But I think, if it's coming in cheap, why not? Why not get the rental? When does College Basketball Insider Ben gets invited back to the show? We'll shoot out to Ben Boomstein here pretty quick here. The Bernstein. We'll get the Boomstein. We'll get him back on here pretty soon for you, Tim. But as far as Jimmy goes, Jimmy's Jimmy, man. I mean, you got to figure on Jimmy Butler. I don't know. Derek is saying JJ, Ja, Edie, Bain. I mean, yeah. Who are we giving up, though, if you're Memphis? Neither one of those guys. You think they would want Desmond Bain in return? Could you move on from Bain? They're going to try to squeeze everything they want to get Jimmy there, to get Jimmy moved there. I don't know how much Memphis is willing to give up. That's the part I don't know. That's the part I don't know. How much are they willing to give up when it comes to Memphis? But am I wrong to think if they're not asking for a whole lot for Jimmy Butler and you're able to squeeze De'Aaron from Sacramento, you still got some change left over in San Antonio. Maybe see if they'll take some spare change and just get a 1-year rental and go for broke. Hell, that moves the needle all the way up in San Antonio for Jimmy Butler. So we'll see what happens. The trade deadline is this Thursday. As the trade deadline continues to grow closer and closer, we'll get more information. We'll get a lot more out to you guys here at Sweep the League. The only way to get it is to be sure to follow us on Sweep the League. Search Sweep the League on YouTube, Sweep the League TV. Hit that subscribe button so you're not left behind on any of the talk. Well, we got the Super Bowl in. We've got our Super Bowl. Super Bowl, is it 59? Jeez, I hope I got that right. I'm terrible at Roman numerals, so y'all got to forgive me. Super Bowl 59 is set. Eagles and Chiefs now. Was it a first down when Josh rushed the ball on 4th and 1? Clearly looked like the tip of the ball did cross the first down marker. Ref said no, Chiefs ball. Everybody's crying. Everybody's complaining about the Chiefs getting, the benefit of every call. I definitely agree with a lot of you guys out there. The Chiefs are benefiting from a lot of these calls in these games. It's pretty obvious. It's not any less obvious. It's pretty obvious, but nonetheless, they are AFC champs. They are in the Super Bowl. And America outside of Kansas City can only hope that they don't three-peat. I mean, if it happens, hey, the first team to three-peat in NFL history. But if they don't, then guess what? Saquon wins a ring. That's why I'm definitely going for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have looked dominant throughout the entire playoffs. Loving it. They've looked really, really good. I will say that Saquon is the reason why I'm going to be rooting for Philadelphia. I'll admit that. Guy deserves a ring, man. Did all he could with New York and the Giants. He wanted to stay a Giant. He really wanted to stay in New York. But New York fumbled the ball. They did a Jerry Jones type move, fumbled the whole ball. Saquon leaves, goes to Philadelphia. Guess what? NFC champions in the Super Bowl. Who do you guys got winning? Early picks. We're not going to get this pick until next week. Obviously, we got a couple of weeks for a Super Bowl. Who do you guys have winning? Eagles? Chiefs? Mahomes get Super Bowl number 3 in a row? Three-peat in Super Bowl? Eagles? Do they stop him? It's going to be a great game. I'm not going to lie to that. It's going to be a really good game. Who comes out on top? Super Bowl preview is going to be coming starting actually next week. We're going to do a lot of Super Bowl preview as we've got Super Bowl 59, Kansas City, Philadelphia. Drop your winners in the comments, man. It's going to be a great one. Again, our Super Bowl coverage starts next week. Trade deadline this week for the NBA. So that's going to be pretty much taking up our entire time here this week on Sweep the League. Let me get some of the WNBA news. Now, Tim did say he's in here. He says, Rudy, if someone told you weeks ago that Britney signed with Dream, would you believe them? I definitely would have not. Considering the fact that Alyssa Thomas, she got traded to the Mercury. So I figured, okay, you'd have Griner, Diana, Alyssa Thomas. That would have been a pretty damn good move right there. I mean, I like that lineup. And then just to find out that Brittany Griner ends up signing, agrees to a deal with the Atlanta Dream, which now you're not going to have that trio in Phoenix. So a lot of WNBA news. I'm going to actually reach out to our WNBA correspondent and see if we can get her on the show, talk about all this WNBA news that's happening. If not, maybe we can go a little bit live during the day or early evening for some WNBA breaking news, as we've had a lot. Kelsey Plum on the move. She's in Los Angeles. That trifecta right there, Los Angeles, is Kelsey Plum, Rickea Jackson, Cameron Brink. That's going to be a really good trifecta right there. Really good trio in Los Angeles. Again, Alyssa Thomas to Phoenix. Brittany Griner's going to Atlanta. I don't think these are going to be the last of deals that we're going to be seeing. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out from the WNBA here pretty soon. So we're going to see if we can get Megan Price, friend of the show here at Sweep the League, and see if we can get her thoughts on all the moves and all the happenings, plus the WNBA draft coming up soon. So definitely got to get her on the show so we can get her thoughts on everything going on with the WNBA. Before we go, guys, here tonight, again, shout out to Derek Irvin. Shout out to everybody at Sweep the League Network. You guys are doing a fantastic job. All the content coming out. STL 316 will preview for the Royal Rumble this week. Also, Great in the Market. You've got episodes coming out, I believe, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the end of the week. You're going to have multiple episodes probably on Friday, and then we may have some on Thursday. So Great in the Market for all your sports collectibles and sports cards information. You're getting it from Great in the Market, one of the best podcasts around for sports cards and collectibles. Also, you've got the Best Boys podcast. You've got, like I said, STL 316, Sweep Unplugged coming to you live with more interviews. Just got a whole bunch more coming out here. But before we go, I want to bring this up here. In the chat, guys, drop them in the chat here. We've got NBA logos of the past. Which logo is your favorite logo? Let's go to some of these old school logos. Just not because he wants a new deal. No. Gio's actually working a lot. Gio has some stuff going on with work, and he's traveling a lot more. So we're in talks to him. Don't worry. Coach Gio will be back here pretty soon. Just trying to get a set schedule. So don't worry about that. We definitely got Coach Gio. NBA logo time, man. These are some past NBA logos, and I love a lot of them. This is back when I was growing up. Obviously, you see the old Spurs logo, loving the Spurs logo. Which one was your favorite? I was a huge fan of the Raptors logo. I loved the Raptors logo. The Cavs logo, I loved it. I mean, I don't know. I just something about the Cavs, but again, I was a pretty big, Cavalier fan back the Mark Price and Brad Daugherty days. So besides being a Spurs fan, I love the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Mavericks. Everybody remembers the Mavericks, the Nuggets. I mean, if you're looking at these logos, which logo would you like to see make a comeback here? I mean, Detroit's, kind of similar still. I think the Detroit still has the same logo. The Lakers logo, Lakers logo. Is the Lakers logo pretty much the same? It's pretty much the same. That's still the same. What are the logo? Obviously, the Bulls logo is still the same. The Washington Bullets at the time. Now they're not the Bullets, obviously, but you got the Bullets there. The Nets logo had a lot going on. I loved it. It was like a lot, but it was basic, but it was a lot, going on. The Pacers with the hand palming the ball, dunking it. The old Timberwolves logo, loving that Timberwolves logo from back in the day. That reminds me of, obviously Kevin Garnett's rookie year, but also guys like, Malik Sealy, rest in peace, Malik Sealy, Pooh Richardson. Let's bring up the Pooh Richardson name there. Not only that, Pooh Richardson goes for that Los Angeles Clippers logo at the bottom. Let's throw out some names, guys. Throw out some of these names from back in the day. You talking Mavericks logos? We got Rolando Blackman, Roy Tarpley, Brad Davis. Let's just throw these names out there. The Sonics from back in the day. Holy cow. With that logo, you can go Benoit Benjamin in that time frame. Sean Kemp, I think he was right around that logo as well. Man, we can go a whole bunch for Seattle. Detlef Shrimp wasn't there. Kevin Johnson for the Suns. They're dropping in some of these teams' name here. Let's get to Derek Gervin. The Chiefs won 17 of their 18 by one score. I say that trend ends against the Eagles. Eagles win. I feel the same way. I've got the Eagles, and I really want the Eagles because of Saquon. Saquon Barkley, he deserves a ring, man. Tim likes that Lakers logo. Darth is in here. The Hornets had the best logo. Man, the Hornets had a beautiful logo back in the day. I had the starters jacket. For those of you kids that are kids now, they had these old-time starter jackets for every team. They had one. I had one for the Spurs, and I had one for the Hornets. I do remember that. So I think everybody had the Hornets one. It was cool. It was the coolest one was out there. Kevin Johnson on the Suns. Suns, man. Kevin Johnson. Jeff Hornacek was a Sun at that time. Tom Chambers was there as well. Mark Davis is another guy that was on that Suns team. Dan Marley, can't forget Thunder Dan Marley. Holy cow. MJ and the Bulls. You want to go Bulls back then. So MJ, Scotty, Bill Cartwright, Horace Grant, obviously John Paxson, the starting five that everybody got so accustomed to during those runs there against the Lakers and, Jordan's 3P time. Who else was on the Bulls? BJ Armstrong was around that time. Stacey King. Holy cow. Stacey King is another one that was on that time. Derek Coleman of the Nets. Why are you saying Derek Coleman? There's only one Derek that should come out of your mouth every time when it comes to the Nets. And the first one is Derek Gervin. Tim, no, I'm just playing with you, Tim. I'm just playing with you. Derek Coleman around that time. Was Roy Hinson on that Nets team with that logo? I know Derek's listening. If you're listening, was Roy Hinson on that team with that Nets logo? I'm trying to remember if he was. I think he was at that time. And rest his soul, Yinka Dare. I think he was around that time with that Nets logo. Was it Yinka Dare? Was he a part of that? I can't go that far back on that one. I'm going to need some help on that. Wally Szczerbiak was his favorite Wolves player ever. That is Wally Szczerbiak. That does remind you of that logo as well. We'll go to a couple more logos here. Sacramento Kings, man. Reggie Theus is another one for that logo. Who else was on there? No, Finis Dembo was on the Pistons with that logo. Sacramento, Spud Webb. Spud Webb was a King during that time for the logo. I remember that. Purvis Ellison, was he with King around that time? I think he was with the Kings around that logo time. Tim is saying Dennis Johnson with the Sonics. Yeah, Dennis Johnson with the Sonics. Bulls three-headed monster, definitely one of the best trios out there. Terry Cummings for the Bucks. That Bucks logo. Terry Cummings, Alvin Robertson, Cadillac Anderson. They were traded for back in the day for Terry Cummings. The Hawks, I mean, what was it? Moses Malone, Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb, Doc Rivers, Kevin Willis, Blair Rasmussen was another Hawks guy. Gerald Wilkins was for the Cavaliers with that logo. That Denver Nuggets, man, that's Alex English. That is Dan Issel is another one with that Denver logo. I mean, this is what I love about the logo part. We can talk all night about it. Kenny Smith of the Kings. Yes, he was with that logo. On that logo, Kenny Smith was on that team right there. Bill Walton with the Blazers. The Blazers logo, yeah. Yeah, I believe that was a logo during the Bill Walton era. Towards the end of it there. Golden State with that logo. That was Mullen, Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, Latrell Sprewell, I think was there for that logo. Billy Owens, I think was for that logo as well. Oh, man. I think Adonal Foyle was after that. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe Adonal Foyle was there for that logo. Anyways, those are the logos, guys. If you want to drop more players in the comments, be sure to do that there. Just visiting back some old times here on the NBA. Throwback there. The Nets, Derek Irvin here. That's what we're saying, Derek. The Nets right there, man. That's your logo right there. Tim said that the first Derek that came to mind was Derek Coleman. I said, come on, man. You got Derek Irvin here from the New Jersey Nets. That's his first logo right there, the New Jersey Nets. I think that was even Dr. J. When Dr. J, well, no, it wasn't Dr. J. I don't know, man. That logo, I'm trying to think of all these different people that play with those logos. But nonetheless, drop in the comments those players on these logos as we end our version of Sweep the League tonight. Again, be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. That way you can be a subscriber and you can get all the content that we're providing here. STL 316, Sweep Unplugged, Sweep the League TV, The Big Show. Also, you've got the Best Boys podcast, I Am Refocused Radio, Sweep Unplugged. You got Grading the Market, STL Music. You just got a whole lot going on here at Sweep the League Network, partnered with the Refocused Radio Network. This thing is growing big time. We are growing big time. And guess what? I've got a little announcement as well, guys. So for those of y'all that are interested here, Sweep the League is growing. We are definitely growing, and we are looking for content creators. You ever want to try to do a podcast? You ever want to try to do a show? You ever want to try to just get involved somewhere? Hit me up on DM, and we can see if we can find something for you to do here at Sweep the League. We are growing. We've got connections, like I've mentioned before. We've got Kevin King, who's in New York City, music artist, does really great work in New York, has a lot of really great songs in New York City. He's going to be joining STL 316 with us for our wrestling talk. You know, we've literally gone global, to be honest with you. So we've got connections all over. And we've got a lot of people coming up here. We've had interviews already with people from the UK, overseas, and other places. Up in Canada, we just released an episode of Sweep Unplugged with an MMA commentator up in Canada. We've got him coming onto the show as well. Just got a whole lot of stuff that we've got going on, Sweep. So if you're looking to maybe be a participant in Sweep Unplugged, Sweep the League TV, if you want to be on STL 316, wherever you want to try out for, let us know. We're here to help everybody here. So definitely want to do it. Definitely will take care of you. I'm biased because our brother-in-law played for the Nets, man. The Nets have always, I love the Nets logo. When does wrestling go live? So normally, Tim, we make the announcement when we go wrestling. For podcasts, we'll definitely let everybody know on social media. So just be on the lookout for that. Pooh trains my great nephew in California. Shout out to Pooh Richardson, man. Mentioned him on the Minnesota Timberwolves team. Also mentioned him as far as the Clippers squad. Rudy, to bring up Fox again, is their team that could out-big San Antonio Spurs for Fox. So before we go, I mentioned earlier, Jeff, I know you were probably busy, but mentioned earlier, the fact is this. The only teams that you can probably even think about the whole De'Aaron Fox situation is this. The Lakers are out. Let's just, Shams already put that out. The Houston Rockets, he has ties to Houston. I think he's from Houston, if I'm not mistaken. The way Houston is playing, number 2 in the West, number 3 overall in the NBA, they're not going to make a move for De'Aaron Fox. They're not going to break up that core. In order for them to get Fox, they're going to have to give up a core of their players. And they're not going to do that. They're having success now. They've already been built for now. There's no reason to go get De'Aaron Fox. If you get De'Aaron Fox, yeah, you're still going to be good, but you're going to have to give up a lot of your core. I know Houston doesn't want to do that. The only other team is the Miami Heat, as mentioned earlier, but De'Aaron does not want to go to Miami. He does not want to go to Miami. So let's just say that the trade to San Antonio, it's there. It's on the table. I think it's already in the lap of the Spurs front office. It's just the details part. I really sincerely hope that they do not they're not tied down to players. You have so much assets in draft picks. You have so many players that would do wonders for Sacramento. The only 2 players I would be tied to are Victor and Steph Castle. That's it. I think you're going to have to give up Devin. You're going to have to give up Keldon or Jeremy, maybe 2 of them. I don't know. But you shouldn't have to be tied down. You should be only tied down to 2 players, in my opinion. But let's just be honest. Let's be honest. It's on the table. It's already been there. It's set in stone. All that's left to do is to work out the details. De'Aaron wants to be here. Make no doubt about it. He wants to be here. We've got the absolute perfect person at Sweep the League who has said that a million times before the season started, before the draft happened. It was already called. So I'm trying to tell you right now, there's really the only team that would affect the trade from happening are the Spurs themselves. That's really it. Houston's out of the picture. They have to be. I mean, they've got to be out. There's no reason you want to mess up a team that's, second in the West and playing really good. Miami's the only other team because I think they would take Butler, but you got to remember the biggest thing is De'Aaron doesn't want to re-sign. He doesn't want an extension with just any team. There's a couple of teams, and those couple are Sacramento and the Spurs. He would stay in Sacramento. I just don't think he wants to. I think he wants to come back. So, yeah, really no teams up there. Appreciate Harry joining us. Evening Super League. I appreciate you, Harry, for joining us in here. I know it's the end of the show. You can definitely catch the whole show here. It's going to be on YouTube here, Super League TV. It'll also be replayed tomorrow morning. We replay them the next morning too. So for whatever that you missed, you can catch it on the next day. But appreciate you joining us on, Harry. Shout out to Harry, man. SAFC coverage. I love reading the stuff you do about SAFC and post all the time. I can do all new don't want that, John. Definitely no new podcast here. Derek Earner's laughing. He says he talked to Roy Hinson last week. Was I right about Roy Hinson on the Nets logo? Trying to remember if he was on that Nets team. Is Castle a deal breaker? For me, yeah, probably. But at the same time, if I'm giving up Steph Castle, I know I'm not giving up Devin Vassell. So as long as I keep one of them, I'm okay with it. But I think you do anything and everything you can to keep Steph Castle. That's just me. But again, if you want to win now and you want to build this thing up and you want to speed up the process, I think you do whatever's necessary. Don't be tied down to anything. Don't take people off just do what you got to do. That's all I can say. Steph Castle is off my list. I don't want to see him gone, but if it makes sense, you make the deal. I have to say it. You make the deal. Derek or anywhere on Ariana, he'll have to talk to Ariana. I think maybe the Jazz might be a wild card in this. They got picks and young talent. I understand that part, Jeff, but the Jazz don't have much to offer as far as long term for De'Aaron. It's not going to make them a playoff team. It's not going to make them a play-in team. And in return, they're going to probably have to give up Lauri Markkanen for Sacramento. So you're just adding De'Aaron Fox to a Jazz team that's never going to really be good. Besides, keep this in mind. Danny Ainge and the owner are already paying for AJ to go to high school there. He's going to BYU. They're going to pay his NIL deal to go to BYU. AJ's tied to the draft. They don't want to win. They don't want to win at all. They want that number 1 pick next year. So I'm killing your rumor right there. I'm squashing that. If it happens, I'd be shocked. But hey, shit happens all the time. So I don't know. I really can't say. But I wouldn't consider the Jazz as a dark horse. If it happens, it happens. Benoit Benjamin, Charles Smith, Gary Grant, Ken Norman, Clippers. Yeah, Gary Grant. I can't believe I forgot Gary Grant. Man, I forgot Gary Grant. That's crazy. Keeping Castle main priority. I agree with that. I like Castle. I think you should say if we had Fox, does CP3 stay? Good question. Me personally, I think CP3 is involved in the deal and he gets bought out. And then he gets to join a team, a contending team. So a Denver, if he wants to go to Denver. I mean, he can go back to Clipperland if he wants to. Play with Kawhi. If he wants to go out east, I mean, Milwaukee can definitely use a point guard. A Milwaukee, Chris Paul, Giannis, and a Dame, they could definitely use a point guard. Anywhere else out there, Orlando needs leadership. They could use some good leadership in Orlando. So I think if CP3 does go, he gets bought out. I don't think he stays with Sacramento. At the end of the day, I will say that I feel like he might be a part of the deal, but you got to remember his contract like I said in the beginning, it's a chef's kiss. When they signed that deal, I told y'all it's a chef's kiss. It's a perfect contract. It can be moved at any time. If he got bought out, it doesn't cost them a whole lot. Like it's the absolute perfect contract. Plus it's a 1-year deal. So I think if the Fox move is happening, I really think that CP3 is a part of the deal. If not, then you've got a nice little backcourt right there, at least for the remainder of the season. San Antonio and Houston for Fox, but I say here, that's what I was saying. There's only other team is Houston, but what I feel with that, Derek, is the fact that Houston is second in the West, third overall in the NBA. They're going to have to give up a good chunk of their core in order to get Fox. I mean, you got to remember, to make the money work, they have a lot of rookie deals. Fred VanVleet would be the one guy to make it work. But I don't know. I mean, Sacramento, I don't know if they just want Fred VanVleet back in return for De'Aaron Fox. I would say this, Jeff, if you're still out there where I know you're still listening, I will say that Houston poses the biggest threat. It's either San Antonio or Houston. That's it. To me, there's no other team. But I just feel like Houston feels they would have to give up more than Fred VanVleet to make it work, to make it more beneficial for Sacramento to make that deal. The draft picks aren't really worth much considering how high Houston is in the standings. So that first, and that's what it comes down to. The Spurs can offer 2 first-round picks in this coming draft. One of them being Atlanta's, who's falling down the rankings. They've lost the last 6 in a row. So those 2 picks in the first round, I think trump whatever pick or 2 the Houston can give this year. That's why I think Spurs have the edge on that. 100% on that. Just back in here. But Rudy, don't you think the Spurs have to mortgage the future Fox? He is good, but not megastar level. They don't have to mortgage anything. They don't have to mortgage, period. I mean, do you consider giving up Devin Vassell mortgaging the future? No. I mean, At this point, you are not even a playing team. So there's really no future to mortgage unless you're giving away Victor Wembanyama, which you're not doing. Mortgage whatever you need to. You're pairing up an all-NBA first team potential guy who should have been all-NBA first team with Victor. You mortgage everything on that, especially if it's only going to cost you mainly draft picks. Like I said, this year's draft loaded. Next year's draft semi-loaded. So De'Aaron Fox outweighs just about anybody you can get in this year's draft, considering you're probably not going to get a top 3 or top 4 pick this year. I mean, possibly you could win the lottery again, but no, I think you're not mortgaging the future with Fox. I think you give whatever you need to within reason to Sacramento. Fox should have been first team All-NBA last season, 100% agreed. And that's the type of player you're getting. He's going to be even better right next to Victor when he comes to San Antonio. Rudy, you think Wright will have scared money or brave money at the table with Sac? That's the question of the night and the question of the day, and that's going to be the question going into Thursday. Will the trigger be pulled? It's there. I think even Derek will tell you the deal's on the table. It's there. It's just a matter of, do you make the deal or do you Jerry Jones the deal? Do you fumble it? I hope the front office is thinking about this and highly looking at it like, let's make it happen. Your biggest contracts you have to include on the deal are what? Vassell, Keldon, and Zach Collins. Those are your 3 biggest contracts that got to be on the table. The only 2 guys that are sexy out of those 3 are what? Keldon and Devin. One of those guys, Keldon, doesn't make as much as Devin. So you're probably thinking, okay, Devin's going to be involved there. I'm going to put it as simple as this, Jeff. If Brian Wright isn't tied to the players that we currently have, then this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. You shouldn't even have, you should be thinking, what apartment are we going to be getting for De'Aaron? What time is his flight to San Antonio? Those are the only real thoughts you should have. There shouldn't be any other thoughts. This is a no-brainer. This is easy. This is kindergarten shit right here. It's easy. It's a very easy thing. If it's on the table, which it is, you make it happen. Simple as that. Make it happen. Red Sox or Argyle Sox? Ooh, good question. Red Sox. We'll do Red Sox. Your choice, but I go Red Sox. All right, last question. Sox is going to want the mother load. It's for the mother load deal for Fox is pushing it. What do you consider the mother load, though? I mean, I don't consider, unless they're asking for 7 first-round draft picks and, I don't know, Vassell, Keldon, and Castle, that's the mother load. But if they're asking for, Devin Vassell, Chris Paul, Malachi, 4 first-rounders, okay, there you go. So you mean my starting 5 is going to be De'Aaron, Steph, Barnes, Sohan, and Wemby? You need help packing? I'll be glad to help you pack. There's really nothing that the Spurs have to balk on. There's no ties, Jeff. The only thing you're tied down to is a 7'3" center. That is it. Even if you give up Steph Castle, as I don't want to, but if you give up Steph Castle, you're still going to probably end up keeping Devin Vassell. You're not going to auction off. You're not going to basically give Vassell, Castle, Jeremy, CP3, and 4 firsts. I mean, that you got to stay on planet Earth on that kind of talk. There's nothing like that. There won't be. If that deal is right there and they make it, and they've got some massive huevos for doing that. Massive. But they have so many picks that a rebuild for Sacramento, who's already got DeMar, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis. I mean, they've got already players there. It's not going to be much of a rebuild. I think they get better with some of the guys from the Spurs, but also those picks come in handy because, again, I mean, they could make moves in the offseason. I wouldn't worry about the Motherlode part. I think they're fine. They'll be fine. De'Aaron Fox, San Antonio. What do you guys think is going to happen? We'll keep you posted. If anything does happen, we will put it out on X. We'll try to make videos throughout the day if we're able to. If there's any news coming out for De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio, if there's any movement on that, be sure to follow Jeff Garcia at Jeff G Spurs Zone on X, Locked On Spurs. I was on that episode today. Great episode. We gave grades to all the big men for the San Antonio Spurs. Plus, why was Victor snubbed as a starter, which is still complete BS. He should be reserved this week, so that should be announced. But be sure to check out Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Great show. Great coverage. One of the best, if not the best, Spurs coverage around. That is Jeff Garcia at Jeff G Spurs Zone on X. It was Twitter, but on X. But yeah, catch all Locked On. But again, any news you need to get from Spurs, especially about De'Aaron Fox, follow Jeff, and then we'll hit you up as well, too. We'll give you all the insight that we've got as well. So for Derek Gervin, he'll be back. For Coach Gio, who's working his way back, this is Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again, we'll see you later, knuckleheads.